Hi and welcome. This is Guy in the Garage, and I'm pretty excited to share what I've been working on, one of my projects. And what this is combining an e-moto, such as the E-Ride Pro SS that I have here, and also night vision that you see here. And what I want to do is I want to prove that this combination of night vision and a bike such as this, that it has some capabilities. And some of the things that I want to share with this is what goes into it is making a night vision capable bike, and also what you can do and what this actually does for you of having this kind of combination. And the why behind this is I want to show how capable this setup is when you combine this bike with night vision, and how you can truly have a stealth setup. So with these bikes not producing a lot of noise and not even be able to see them until they come up on you, or if you're driving around, and you combine that with night vision that essentially allows you to move around freely at night, makes you invisible. You can't be heard, you can't be seen. And for all legal purposes, I'm doing this for fun. I know there's a tactical aspect to this. I just want to prove the concept that this works. For me, I'm doing it for fun and just for testing, because I think it's a capability and it does have tactical applications, especially with being able to be stealthy in this setup. So what I want to do in this video is I want to show the how. How do you actually make one of these things ready to go, stealthy, and be able to move around with pretty minimal gear. I say minimal gear, but minimal on the bike. Of course, you have to have the night vision set up, whether it be analog tubes, digital tubes. I'm an analog fan. I haven't really messed too much with digital. I know digital's come a long way. That's a debate for another time. But for this video, I will be talking about analog setups, analog night vision, and I'll show some of the equipment that actually has to go on this bike to lower that visible emission that it puts out on normal operation. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk about what you actually need gear-wise to make this thing blacked out. So first up here is your screen. This always has a light signature. It's not super bright, but you can see it in the nighttime. It does have a little light that comes out. You can adjust the dimness or the brightness on it. There's a little bit of adjustability, but it does put out light. So we'll focus on making sure that this isn't seen when you don't want it to be seen. And the same thing goes for this tail light. You can see that it's pretty bright from the reflection. We also want to make sure that this isn't seen when you don't want it to be seen. And then also focus on being able to see, you as the driver of this, to be able to see what's in front of you. And we'll talk about that. So let me get into the specifics and what everything looks like and how everything was designed. All right, so the first piece of equipment I want to talk about is this bezel on this screen. So this is 3D printed. This is something I designed. To give some credit, Fast Frontier came out with a night vision kit. They had a night vision blackout kit specifically for the E-Ride Pro SS in the works. When I made this, it still wasn't released, but I do want to give them the credit for the inspiration for this. Now they are selling this kit. I think it came out a couple weeks ago, and they're selling it with basically a full blackout kit with infrared light, and it's almost $1,000. I wasn't expecting it to be that expensive, but I think it's a pretty cool product. And I'm using this just for myself. This is for my use only. I'm not selling this. I just wanted to replicate something and make it a little better for me. And have the capability of designing and 3D printing, might as well do something. So I will give them credit, Fast Frontier. I think it's awesome what they're doing specifically for the E-Ride Pro SS, but this could be applied to any bike out there. So what this is just a bezel. This sandwich is in here. There's a piece right behind this that goes on the back of the screen. There's screws right here with nuts on the back, and it basically just sandwiches onto the screen. Let me show it a little bit closer here. And also left room for the buttons. There's a couple buttons right there for your adjustment. Go to your screen, and there's also a USB port here on the side. So with this, goes over it, nothing crazy with it. There's a polycarbonate screen protector that goes over the screen. I wanted to do that just to keep the screen from getting scratched up and all that. Now, the biggest thing about this is you can see this flapper. This flapper goes over and is locked with an AVI bank pin, just like that. This is something Fast Frontier also did, is they wanted to put a battery indicator on here. So if you're driving around, you want to see what your battery is, you can keep it open. If you don't want it, keep it shut. And I inscribed some MVGs, so you know what it actually is for. But that's it. When you're driving around, you want to peek at what your battery is. You really don't need to see any of the other stuff, especially when you're driving at night. You're not going to be driving very fast. So that's it, and that blacks out this entire screen. Okay, so I just talked about the screen protector. What I want to do now is show the cap for the light. Same thing, this is actually a PETG print. The screen was printed out of PLA carbon, and I found that PETG is a lot more flexible. You can have these tabs that bend a little more. It doesn't crack as much as PLA. So what I wanted to do is just have something that I could clamp on, and again, this is something Fast Frontier had, and I just redesigned it a little bit from what I saw in their pictures. It gives a little more coverage around the light. So if I demonstrate here, pop this cover on, goes on one side, goes on the other. You don't see anything. There's no light signature whatsoever. Now there's a couple other ways. I think the Surons have a Blackout kit that you can actually kill this electronically. You could do that too. All you have to do is unhook or put a switch in here. It wouldn't be that difficult. I just wanted something that was quickly removable, kind of OEM looking. So that's what I did, is I just put a cover on here, something simple, and it was easy to make within a couple hours, and a couple hours printed. All right, and the final piece that I want to focus on is this infrared light. I just put IR on here so you know what it is. So first off, I had to make this custom bracket. This is a tri-use bracket. It includes the turn signals, which I'll talk about in another video. It's really nice to have turn signals, but I had to make this bracket to fit all these lights on. I couldn't fit the OEM light, the white light, so I got these two lights. They're both the same. They just point out in different angles, so I have a little more coverage, and I was able to fit it. And then on top of this aluminum bracket, I have this infrared light. This aluminum bracket, it bolts on right here where the OEM light fits on. Second part of this is I needed a way to control this light. So with the turn signals, I use this as an opportunity. I got this controller here. This is a cheap Amazon, I think $25 controller. And this is how I control my turn signals. But I also use this switch up here that would be for a motorcycle headlight, for your brights, and for a flash to control this IR light. And this is wired to a 12 volt source, which stems from these lights. It's all 12 volt. I was able to tap in. It's a simple circuit. This is really just a switch for this infrared light. So if I press it in like this, it just gives it a blip, and I'll show this later in the field to see what it actually looks like. And then if you flip it up, this will keep that infrared light on. So this is a 15 watt infrared. It is a 940 nanometer light, which is, I guess in common speak, it's not very visible to the human eye. It's a very light magenta if you look at it. So it's not very visible. If you go into like the 800s, you're going to see more of a red glow, but with these, you're not going to see much. It's just a very faint magenta hue, and you really don't see it from far away. So I went with a little bit of a higher nanometer light, just to give a little less of a signature. But of course, if you're using a light like this, the stealth factor goes down, especially if it's other NVGs, or if it's analog NVGs, digital NVGs, or if it's just infrared cameras, they will pick it up. So I did want to put this light on because not every condition, as you know with night vision, not every condition is able to give you right light to be able to see in front of you. So I wanted some supplementary light just to be able to see in front of me, especially if you're driving around, you want to see what's in front of you. And it's effective. If you just want to see something really quick, you just blip it off. And if you want to keep it on, you flip the switch and it keeps it on. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the bike. There's three main things: the dash cover, the light cover down here, and then of course your infrared light. So I made this entire kit for about $100. I think the light was the most expensive. This is out of Super Bright LEDs. This was about $75. The filament, pretty cheap. I think I spent, I think I had one of these pins lying around. Put a little lanyard on here. And, it's chump change for some of this filament. It doesn't really cost much. And then, of course, it doubled for the turn signals, but I had to get this module. So I'd say for about $100, I was able to make this. But the last thing I want to talk about is night vision. To make use of all these mods, you want to have good night vision. Again, I'm not going to get into the discussion about analog versus digital, but I am using analog tubes. These are Gen 3 mil-spec PVS-14s, and they're bridged together. I like using duals. Once I went duals, I'm not going to go back. The only complaint I have with running duals is they're a little heavy. I had to use a counterweight. I'm just using a bump helmet, especially driving around. I don't want to use a ballistic helmet, but a bump helmet is fine in case I fly off or something. I get a little bit of protection. I don't have too much extra weight with like a ballistic helmet. But again, 2 mil-spec PVS-14s, it definitely helps with your depth perception. For those of you that have been around MVGs, you know that depth perception is everything, especially if you're doing something dynamic. If you're moving around, you want to have the ability to see what's around you. Because a monocular, you can see pretty well depending on your light conditions, but you might not have that full depth perception, that full detail that both your eyes need to give you all the detail, especially when you're moving around quickly. So it's definitely possible to do with one, but the ability to move around fast is definitely degraded, and that's why I am running 2. And for the purpose of this video, I'm just showing that because I think it's important to have that depth perception at speed, especially on a bike. Because if you've ever been in dense woods with NVGs, you know that even just one with low light conditions, you're falling everywhere. You have no depth perception. It's hard to see what's around you. But just imagine multiplying that speed by 20. It can get pretty dangerous pretty quickly. Okay, so I think I've talked enough. I'm going to take this out to the field and show what this actually looks like. I'm going to do some comparisons with what it looks like nothing being covered up, so light exposed, the screen exposed, show what it actually looks like under night vision. And I'll do the same thing with everything closed up, show it under night vision, see what it looks like. And then we'll test the light out, see how that looks in the woods, in the field. And then I'll do some runs. I'll do some runs with it. I'll talk about some of the considerations while driving, and just to see how actually capable it is. I think there's definitely potential into having these things plussed up with night vision. So let's go into the field and give it a whirl. All right, so I'm out here in the field. I want to show what this actually looks like. A little bit of a thunderstorm behind me, so you'll see a bunch of flashing going on. But I am filming through a PVS-14. So let's get to it. I'm going to turn the bike on right now, and you're going to see what happens when I turn it on. This is without any kind of kit on it. That's pretty bright. So this rear taillight you can see, and then right here you can see where my hand is, what that screen looks like. So again, it's pretty bright. There's a lot of light signature that you can see around me, and I want to minimize that, especially this rear light. I mean, it lights up the entire area, so don't want that, and we obviously don't want anything coming out of this screen. So let's see what it looks like when I close everything up, what the difference is. Okay, this is what the bike looks like without any light. So this rear is capped off. It's still in the on position. As you can see, the screen, there's not much light signature coming out of it. There's the lighting again. There's a little bit of light coming out. That's that battery indicator. I'll get to that here in a second. Closed, really can't see anything. So let's do a little bit of driving and see what this thing actually looks like. Let's take a look and see what this infrared light actually looks like when I project it. It's pretty bright. You can see a lot of stuff around you. So again, I only use this if I really can't see what's in front of me. On a dark night like this, it's actually pretty effective. But again, it does give away your position, especially with other night vision. But it is nice to see obstacles. Like in front of me, there's a stump. It's a bit hard to see if I don't have it. I just see a little bit of a blob. But yeah, it's very effective. I mean, this thing is essentially invisible, and the sound of it coming is pretty freaky. It's like a wraith coming by. You don't see anything other than just very faint shadow flying through the woods. So let me hit it again, do another spin. All right, let me see if I can do a little bit of a drive. I'm gonna take it slow because I only have one hand. I don't have this mounted on my head. But let's just see what it looks like. All right, in this video, everything is dark. Very, very dark. So let me take off this rear light and we'll see what it looks like to the naked eye, just with that rear light on. And we'll take the screen. You can see this is what it looks like. So I'll go for a quick spin, just to show you what this thing looks like to the naked eye if you're near it without any night vision. All right, as you can see, not very stealthy. I mean, there's a lot of light. There's a lot of light pollution from this thing. Okay, what I want to show now is what this screen looks like. See if I can get this thing to adjust. All right, there's my battery, 54%. And if I don't want to see this, boom. The only thing you see is the red camera on button. But yeah, I mean, to the naked eye, you can see that little blue dial where the USB is. And that's it. I mean, from far away, you can't even see that light. This is covered. There's a light when it's uncovered. Huge red glare out of there. Wow. Cap, you don't see a thing. All right, let's do a little more driving just to show what this thing actually looks like at a distance. All right, I'm just gonna do a little bit of general driving out in this open area. That's probably pretty stupid, but I just took a jump with NVGs. A little sketchy. But as you can see, I mean, this thing's capable. I can see a lot. It's pretty good, even with a binocular, because I'm just using one right now. But duals, I mean, you have full depth perception. But like I said, I was able to take it over a jump. It felt pretty good. Do a little more. All right, let me do another quick show of the light. It's very, very bright. Very bright. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit too. Let me go up a little bit. There we go. All right, so that's about it. This is great. As you can tell in the video, I mean, I'm just driving with a binocular. My other one's used for video. Luckily, there's a lot of illumination out here. I can barely see just with my naked 2 eyes. But under night vision, I mean, you can see everything just like you can in the camera. I didn't even need to use my IR light. But it's very capable. You can't see anything. You really can't. There's no visible glow coming from the bike. Further in the woods, you could probably see a little more, a little less light penetration than out here. But I wanted to show both to see what this actually looks like. But yeah, if your eyes aren't adjusted, you're not going to see one of these bikes flying through here, especially through the woods. So this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to continue pursuing this, but I think the Blackout kit is a phenomenal success. And yeah, I'm going to continue doing some of these videos with night vision. I think this is such a great candidate for a project like this. So I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more.